aggravation, right? So aggravation it's not common. However, there is a common claimed disability that is denied due to aggravation all the time. And I'm going to use that as the example here, Jason. And that is flat feet. I see all the time, more often than not, where a veteran claimed flat feet, and in their MEPS exam, okay, no, I'm kidding. In their
Yeah.
MEDS exam, so their entrance exam, they will have a one-liner note in there that says
Yep.
asymptomatic flat feet. I
Yep.
see that almost every single time flat feet's denied. That's the line I
Yep.
see in a MEPS exam. And now on aggravation, it completely changes. In my opinion, this is the most difficult claim to win. It completely changes the basis of service connection, which in turn changes the evidence. So evidence from service, it still matters, but having a diagnosed flat feet means nothing because you were already diagnosed. Even
Hmm.
if that condition got worse, um, which is good for service connection, that's not the standard for aggravation. It's not it
Right.
got worse. The
Right.
standard is, did your service make that condition worse? Key word here, key phrase, beyond its natural regression. Your
Right.
feet are going to get worse. They're static in nature, okay?
Mhm.
Your flat feet will get worse. The question, so I'm going to use a little, imagine there's a chart in front of me. Your foot condition will decline like that. Doesn't matter if you were in service, if you played soccer, if you worked fast food or went to college, your flat feet will decline. And at some point, it'll be asymptomatic, maybe acute, and then chronic, right? And so you're on this downward
Mhm.
trajectory until you die. That's an uplifting message.
Good
Now,
job.
for aggravation, what you have to do is I had asymptomatic flat feet, something happened, and now my chart looks like this, right? Maybe I did foot patrols over 7 combat deployments with the flak on, my Kevlar,
Right.
my rifle, ammo, my
Yeah.
back, whatever the case may be. But that line is no longer natural regression. It
Right.
went beyond its natural
Yep.
regression.
Yep.
And I'll say this last thing, and I'll shoot it over to you. That is so hard to prove.
Yep.
That is it's not a flat feet diagnosis.
Right.
It's got to be
Yep.
something happened to make that
Right.
way worse, and it's
Yep.
super hard. It's so
Right.
hard and it sucks. All right, go
Yep.
ahead.
And that's a great example. Um, it's most of us will not have to deal with this because we came in clean slate from MEPS, right?
Mhm.
No issues, no problems, moving on. Flat feet is something that's visually noticeable. So that's why it gets that one liner, right? Um, yeah, very difficult. And I'm going to preface it with this, Clay, and this is probably not what you're expecting me to say as we're talking about aggravation type claims. I think that sometimes veterans get so focused on wanting to file for something specific that sometimes they lose sight of other things that they could possibly file for.
Yeah.
And they just are chasing this one thing because they're like, that's the one, and you're losing time and money by not taking a step back and looking at everything you could file for and stop chasing something that's probably going to be just garbage, right? Just a horrible claim because why? One, it's hard to prove. And I'm not saying don't file for it. Sure, file for it. But like you said, you have to show, like with hearing, right? Everybody's hearing decreased. That's why the hearing rating schedule sucks so bad. I
Yeah.
hate that's the one I hate. So there is a natural degradation or degraded, whatever. I can't talk. So you know what I'm trying to say. It naturally gets worse over time, right? And so same thing with your flat feet, like you said. So that I love the graph. It was very artsy and colorful.
Mhm. You're
Thanks for
welcome.
bringing
Yes.
that up. And so yes, you need to show that it got much worse. Now, chances are, unless you actually went to the doctor while you were in service, that's even harder now. So if you just dealt with it and pushed forward and, all of that, well, you probably are, it's a very steep hill now to climb. Now, if you, on the other side, if it got so bad that you actually went to medical and then they gave you like some sort of boot inserts or something for your feet, well, now you all of a sudden, maybe it went faster than normal in the downward trajectory of it all. But here's the really bad part. The VA goes, well, you already had it and you were already going to get bad naturally. And so we're not going to give you the full rating. We're going to give you kind of a partial rating, how much it got worse beyond what it naturally would have gotten worse. So the math is funny, but I'm just going to give you the high level kind of vision of what it would feel like. Maybe you would have naturally gotten to a 10% by this time in your life. So they're going to call that zero and go, well, you would have been there anyway. So we're not even going to give you anything. So even though you might be rated at a 20%, if it was a true service connection, they're not going to give that to you because you already had it. You were already going to go bad. So they're going to give you a piece of that. It might be a 0. It might be a 10. So don't think you're going to get the full rating based on the severity, because the VA is saying you already we're already messed up from this. We're not going to give you the full rating. We'll give you a partial rating, is essentially what happens. Work with an accredited rep, reach out to somebody who's accredited with the VA who can help you file that claim and really walk you through what you need to do to really document it. And I will tell you again, take a step back, look for everything else that you can file for too. Don't just hone in on one thing. What really drives me crazy, Clay, is people, and you would think it would be this way, but the VA doesn't work this way. And you know this, Clay. But we, as the service members, go, this one condition that I do have, I have like 5, but this one really bothers me the most. And so it's got to be a high rating because it bothers me so bad. But it might not be a high, your back, right? It bothers me. This is the one of all of them. This is the one. It bothers me so bad. I can't sleep. I wake up early. It's just horrible. Bam, that's the only one I'm filing for. And you get a 10%. You're like, what? So don't hyper focus on one thing, especially if it's an aggravated type of a condition that you're going to be filing for, because it may be very lackluster at the end of the day. At the end of the day, for all of us, Clay, I think that it's just making sure, like you have said before, we're trying to just make sure that we get rated appropriately for all of the conditions, whether they're service connected or secondary, and in this case, aggravated. But aggravated is not where the easy claims are, for sure, and they're oftentimes going to be very low ratings, if any.
Yeah, absolutely. At some definitely be properly rated, and I don't want people to misconstrue what I'm saying. However, if you have a claim that's been denied over and over again, maybe you take a step back and, 1, either continue to gather evidence for it, or 2, push that to the side. I say that for aggravation because when there's a lack of medical evidence for aggravation, it is so hard. Are you really going to go pay $1,500 for a nexus letter for a chance at aggravation? I would never recommend that for aggravation at all, especially on flat feet. And so it's just something else to discern about, right? And build your anxiety when it comes to submitting VA disability claims. Okay.